Hey, this is Chris coming at you with another quick tip, computer tip, something you can use in your everyday life. This has to do with upgrading to Windows 10. As I made clear in my previous videos, I am not a fan of Windows 10 because it does not respect your privacy, and neither does Microsoft. But, however, I understand that there are people for whom that is not a huge concern, and so they go ahead and upgrade to Windows 10, and if they do, and when they do, they might find that the performance of their machine is significantly degraded. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you do an in-place upgrade rather than a fresh install. Of course, the best way to install Windows 10 is to do an upgrade, then go to Microsoft and download, and they do offer a free download of Windows 10, either 32 or 64-bit versions. Download the correct image file for your hardware, and then do a clean install of that Windows 10 disk. Now, that does mean that you'll have to reinstall all your programs and back up and restore all your personal data, but the performance benefits far outweigh the time and energy it takes to do those 2 or 3 extra steps. Now, if you really don't want to do those 2 or 3 extra steps, if you don't want to upgrade it and then, download the image file, write the image file to a disk, back up all your old personal data, reinstall Windows 10, reinstall all your programs, and then restore your personal data, the next best thing you can do is get yourself a copy of CCleaner. Do a Google search, CCLEANER. Install that, open it, look down. It has a whole list of things that it cleans, and you'll notice near the bottom of the list is something called Old Windows Installations. Make sure that box is checked. What that will do is it will get rid of a lot of the old files from your old Windows installation. Like, say, if you are upgrading from Windows 7 to Windows 10, it will get rid of all of your old Windows 7 Windows system files. They won't be on the disk anymore. Now, the disadvantage of this is if you ever want to go back to Windows 7 within the 30 days that you're allowed to go back, simply by going into Windows updates and uninstalling that update, you won't be able to do that anymore. But once you've made the decision to go to 10, you might as well just stick with it and deal with the problems as they come up. So you do that. That will clean out all the old files from your Windows installation. It will free up about 5 or 10 gigabytes of disk space too. The next thing you need to do is you need to get MyDefrag. It's spelled MYDEFRAG. It is the best disk defragmenter that I have found. Much better and much more informative than the one that's built into Windows, by the way. I think it's at mydefrag.com. Again, you can just do a Google search and find that file, download it. It installs very quickly. When you open it, you will see some dialogue. Again, in the left-hand pane, select disk defragment daily. That one's the run. It's the one that runs the fastest, and it's the most. There's daily, there's weekly, and there's monthly. And make sure you select system disk and not data disk. So system disk daily, or system disk weekly, or system disk monthly. Monthly is the best, but it takes forever. It will take several hours. Daily, you might get out of it in about an hour. Once you do those 2 things, once you run CCleaner and get rid of the old Windows 7 files, or 8 or 8.1, depending on what you're upgrading from, and once you run that disk defragmenter, you should find that your performance should be as fast or nearly as fast as it was before. Windows 7 or Windows 10 does have good system performance. That's one of the things that is a slight improvement over Windows 7, and so you ought to be okay. Now, if you get to that point and your performance is not okay, then that means you've got bigger problems, and you'll probably need to fall back and do the clean install that I mentioned earlier. One other thing, thinking about a clean install, when you upgrade from Windows 7, 8, or 8.1 to 10, your old key goes into the Windows 10 install, and that information is reported back to Microsoft without your knowledge or consent, by the way, but that's the way it is. And so one of the things about Windows 10 is you do not need to remember a license key, because Microsoft has that information on their server somewhere. And so when you do the clean install of Windows 10, your machine will phone in to Microsoft, and the Microsoft server will recognize your machine by the kind of hardware it has, and it can recognize your specific machine, because every machine has a unique identifier attached to it just by the way it's set up, by the motherboard numbers, processor types. I mean, they know whose machine is what. Now, they may not know it's specifically yours, but it will automatically phone into the Microsoft server and it will activate itself. As you go through the setup, when it asks you for the installation keys, just skip or say you'll do it later or whatever, and literally about 15 minutes after that installation is finished and you're hooked up to the internet, you'll be activated. You can check that in Control Panel. So that is one nice thing that's a little bit easier about things. On the other hand, it's just another piece of information that Microsoft has that they didn't really ask you for. So anyway, hope you find this tip interesting and helpful to you. Yeah, as long as you have your machine, you can reinstall Windows as many times as you want. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when you buy a new machine. They're probably going to make you buy another copy of Windows 10, but maybe not. We still have a couple weeks until the official deadline for the free upgrade. I have a feeling that they're going to modify that. They're in too deep now. They can't afford to. I mean, people have been getting free operating systems now for a year. I really don't think they're going to start charging for it, and if they do, it's not going to be as much as other copies of Windows have been. So anyway, hope you found that helpful. Hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, please. We enjoy it when you do that, and good luck out there in the cyber world.